what would your kind of observation be on AI and the impact on labor markets and people's jobs, and how they should feel about that as they think about this?
Well, I think we are seeing the most disruptive force in history here. Where we have for the first time, we will have for the first time something that is smarter than the smartest human. And that, I mean, it's hard to say exactly what that moment is, but there will come a point where no job is needed.
What has made America successful? There are various ways to parse this question, but in a fundamental way, America has historically sought to regard the very essence of truth. That is to say that America is unique in how it has based its morals and ethics on Judeo-Christian values. The founders wrote,
"We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness."
This statement expresses an objective moral truth claim.
With the Declaration of Independence, the Founding Fathers argued that it was the Creator that established the certain inalienable rights belonging to mankind. The truths they were discussing transcended themselves because they acknowledged they were created. The origin of these truths, these rights, was their Creator. Objective morality is often discussed within Christian apologetics, but its necessity for all in society is often overlooked. The alternative to objective morality is moral relativism. With objective morality, right and wrong factually exist regardless of any opinion toward it. Put more simply, imagine a black and white color spectrum, with the most wrong or evil of actions being represented by black, and completely good or righteous actions being represented by white. There might be discussions on to what degree an action is right or wrong, like identifying a shade between black and white. Right and wrong does exist and is discernible within objective morality. With moral relativism, right and wrong is merely subjective. There are no moral absolutes, and what is right varies with each person and culture. The Judeo-Christian perspective concludes that certain rights are fundamental to each person. But for the moral relativist, morality and rights are determined by the opinions of men, which are subject to change. But what are the broad consequences of a society that chooses this point of view?
The risks are what? Well, the risks are having a whole class of people who are unemployed and not valued much because what they used to do is now done by machines.
We're going to see more professional workers who are actually going to be losing their jobs because AI can do those jobs at least as well as they can and far more efficiently. And it's going to have tremendous social and political implications because a lot of those professional workers are used to doing fairly well. This isn't the working class anymore. We're now talking about the middle class of America, and AI could very easily be taking over many of those jobs.
This is bigger than climate change, way bigger than COVID. This will redefine the way the world is in unprecedented shapes and forms within the next few years. This is imminent.
So why is it important to discuss a postmodern concept such as moral relativism? Part of the answer lies in how morals have been shifting in our society in recent years. In 2018 and 2019, Pew Research conducted interviews to determine the beliefs of U.S. adults. It was found that those who held to the Christian faith had declined from 78% in 2007 to 65% in 2019, while the religiously unaffiliated at the same time had grown from 16% to 26% of U.S. adults. What is sometimes not considered with these shifts is the problems that arise with this. It's not simply just a matter that people stop going to church or reading their Bibles. Their views and lifestyle decisions change also.
and this affects the dynamics of our society. Judeo-Christian values has always established what is normative within our society. But what effects has drifting from these values had? A recent Pew Research poll found that those who thought marijuana should be illegal had declined from 60% in the mid-2000s to 29% in 2023. According to Google Trends, which compares the most searched terms on Google, the word bourbon ranked in the 20th percentile of words in January of 2007. In January of 2023, it ranked in the top 100th percentile. In 2018, a 1992 law was overturned that made it illegal to gamble in sports such as the NFL or NBA, and this is now advertised frequently. While this information may come across as sermonizing, a larger point is being made. How well a society manages its vices, as compared to prior generations or other societies, is highly reflective of its morality as a whole presently. It has been noted how vodka partly had a role in the decline of the Soviet Union, with vodka revenues at one point making up 20% of Russia's budget. What other important changes have occurred in the U.S. since the early 2000s? In Intelligent AI Part 1, it was discussed how the U.S. debt to GDP ratio, an important metric for our nation's financial health, had risen to levels it had only reached once before, and had went from 36% in 2000 to 98% in 2023. The video also discussed how wealth in the U.S. is ultra-concentrated among a small segment within society. Additionally, media companies have greatly consolidated since the 1980s. While 50 once controlled the bulk of U.S. media, today only 5 companies manage 90%. If you've wondered why the news or TV shows aren't sharing views that align with the statistical majority of Americans, it's because there are 10 times fewer companies deciding what's seen, read, or heard. So how will AI be used in our society? It is important that we are aware of how differently countries with other morals and ethics handle this technology. In China, where the freedom of speech is tightly controlled and only 10% identify with practicing a religion, things operate in a stark contrast to our values.
In 2019, horrifying footage from Xinjiang, China stunned the world. It showed shackled and blindfolded Uyghur Muslims taken off a train and marched into detention centers, part of a broader campaign that's been called a genocide. In an effort to keep the Uyghurs under constant watch, China transformed the province into one of the most heavily surveilled parts of the world.
Every Uyghur over 12 years old is forced to surrender their biometric data, including voice, blood, DNA samples, and iris scans.
Now, China's surveillance state is going global. Chinese-based companies have sold their sophisticated technologies to over 80 countries. These systems make it easier for autocrats to spy on their populations.
China is a prototype of what the 21st century digital authoritarianism is.
An unregulated global industry of spyware is providing cheap spying tools to dictators.
An immense network of security cameras, some equipped with facial recognition, is constantly monitoring the streets.
You almost have what some have described as a laboratory of digital surveillance, where these AI companies have tested what is possible when it comes to collecting all manner of information and then using those for fairly chilling and insidious security purposes.
Many of these technologies are being deployed across the country, from smart cities that use AI to contact the police when it detects wanted criminals, to a social credit system that ranks you.
Everywhere she goes, Ouyang Haoyu is followed. What she buys, how she behaves, is tracked and scored to show how responsible and trustworthy she is.
When the Chinese citizen does something or doesn't do something, this kind of system will rate them, will incentivize them, or punish them.
Notable changes have taken place since Vice covered the surveillance approaches of China. In late 2022, the Biden administration proposed an AI Bill of Rights. However, it is important to note that this proposal is yet to be written into law. The need for Americans to be better informed on this issue should be recognized. Our rights to be well informed on this topic and our freedom to discuss it exists because prior generations sought to protect these rights.